Florida police tell residents not to take selfies with the depressed bear. A Florida bookstore is selling books that are banned in Florida. A Florida man was arrested for resisting arrest while being arrested for a warrant for resisting arrest. And Florida Governor Ronnie D says the police can't agree on how much weed is in a joint. These are the weird stories for Friday on Weird AF News. They're all from Florida. Duh. Because on Friday, I only do weird news from Florida. It's called Florida Friday on Weird AF News. All the weird news from this week from one state. Your favorite place, Florida. Let's go. Police in Florida tell the citizens to stop taking selfies with the depressed black bear. Did you know there's black bears in Florida? Yeah, there's a few hundred, apparently. I've learned that from, well, I know everything about Florida now from doing Florida Friday episodes for several years. I have know too much about Florida. Don't want to. Wish I could get it out of my brain. I don't know how to flush that out, though. Police in Florida are urging people to stop taking selfies with a depressed black bear that's been spotted loitering morosely on a roadside. Wow, the poetry in that sentence. Probably not written by a Florida man. The black bear is loitering morosely. Yeah. I mean, I've definitely done some things morosely in my day. Sometimes you just feel morose. This poor bear's on the side of the road. Why is it so depressed? Why is it so morose? Probably because it lives in Florida. Just had its insurance canceled, I'm sure. It says here, the unhappy animal took up residence on the north side of Highway 98. It took up residence just... Look, man, the bear's just taking a break, all right? It's hard living in Florida. Yeah. Can we let the cocaine bear come down in peace, please? Do we have to bother the cocaine bear? So the bears took residence on the side of a highway, and it quickly attracted unwanted attention from the passing motorists. One post on social media wrote, quote, onlookers were trying to take selfies with the bear, and the bear is clearly not in the mood for photos. The bear has shown signs of severe stress, in my opinion. Another post on Facebook described the large male bear as, quote, stressed, depressed, lemon zest, and urged the public not to approach the black bear at any time, especially those that are showing aggression like this big fella. Can someone explain to me what the lemon zest is in there? Stressed, depressed, lemon zest. When I'm stressed and depressed, the last thing I am is lemon zest. Although in those moments, I would like some lemon zest. It might wake me up and get me motivated. I like the smell of it. Yeah, you shouldn't approach these bears. And anybody that's trying to take selfies up close with a bear that looks pretty out of sorts needs to get their head checked. But then again, this is Florida. I'm wondering if any steps can be taken for the locals to get this bear into a nice state of mind. Did you try feeding the bear the selfie takers covered in honey? That might really get the bear going, I'd imagine. Just have some of the locals cover themselves in turkey gravy from Trader Joe's and sit on the bear's lap. Have you tried that? I'm just brainstorming ways to get the bear excited about something and happy again. Now, it says here they sought the help of some rangers from the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. They were dispatched to investigate and solve the situation. Maybe they brought some antidepressants for the bear. Perhaps some edibles. I don't know. Maybe just a fish would cheer the bear up. I think bears really like fish. The rangers reported, quote, crowds of onlookers stopping to take photos of the bear, which was sitting beside a telegraph pole. I'd imagine the rangers were pretty alarmed about this activity of the people trying to take photos with the bear. A Florida wildlife spokesperson said in a statement that by the time its officers and biologists arrived, the bear had dispersed and walked off into the adjacent woods. Okay, so we're all good then? We all good? They did claim the bear did not appear to be injured. It may have just been overheated and was resting before moving on. Probably a little stress from the approach of Floridamen, I'd imagine. That would stress me out as well. Floridamen coming real close to me to take a photo. Half of them probably had their wang out. You know how Florida men do it. Black bears, surprisingly, are a common sight in many areas of Florida, especially in the spring and summer, when juveniles begin to leave their mother's home ranges and seek out new habitats. Can you imagine being in Florida in July, covered in hair? Ugh, kill me. Kill me. Maybe the bear was just like, someone shoot me in the head. It's too humid here. I'm not meant for this environment. Please, just someone come and kill me. The Florida Wildlife Commission says typically bears will move along on their own. If you see a bear, give it space. Give it some space. Don't try to approach it. Never feed it. Crowding around any bears, never recommended. Don't crowd around the bear with your glow sticks, playing some techno. Bears can become defensive when threatened. Always give bears as much space as possible. Yeah, in other words, don't all pull over to the side of the highway and crowd around it to get a photo, you dummies. Wow, this says surprisingly there are an estimated 4,050 black bears living in the wild in Florida. Imagine that. I thought it was a few hundred. Apparently, it's thousands of black bears. In July, covered in hair, mind you. Oh, the levels of stress. Can you imagine? They don't have AC. Bears don't have AC. Can we raise some money to give the bears some air conditioning, please? Or maybe some ice packs they can put under each armpit? That'll cool you down. Did you guys happen to see that video I made about putting very cold frozen grapes under my armpits? That was a lot of fun. That's one way to keep cool in the summer heat, I have to say. Last month, Ronnie D., the governor, who's an idiot, he's the state's right-wing Republican governor. He signed into law a very controversial bill, I covered this, that allows the public to shoot and kill bears for a perceived threat to a person, pet, or dwelling. And they claim that the bears were high on crack. Yeah, him and his committees said the bears were probably high on crack, and so you can defend yourself from the crack bears. This doesn't sound like a crack bear to me. This sounds like a bear that's just overheated and just sick and tired of living in Florida. Understandable. A bookstore in Florida is selling books that have been banned in Florida schools and libraries. This story's out of Jacksonville, Florida. A bookstore in Cracksonville? Who would have thought? It must be the only one. I don't think anybody can read in Cracksonville, Florida. I once dated a girl that couldn't read, and the irony was her favorite word was literally. Isn't that crazy? We have here a local lawmaker taking a stand against the book bans that are happening across the state of Florida. State Representative Angie Nixon recently opened Cafe Resistance in northwest Jacksonville to make sure black history isn't all forgotten in Florida. The bookstore has a mission to counter the scaled-back teaching of black history in local schools in the effort to limit diversity that's been going on in Florida schools, in Florida in general. The cafe serves up coffee, light bites, smoothies, along with untold stories of the black experience. We have a quote from Angie. It's really frustrating to see that there are some elected officials in power in Florida that want to keep true and accurate history away from folks and really trying to suppress all that. It's going to continue to happen because there are just some folks who just want to remain in power and control and want to just keep us lost and uneducated. Nixon says her Cafe Resistance is a place to foster conversations through book clubs, poetry nights, and even a place to raise awareness around issues such as mental health. Yeah, you ought to throw in, LGBTQ and all that in there as well, because those are the books, many of which have been banned in the schools and libraries in Florida. I wasn't aware that they're trying to ban books about black history, but it's on brand. It really is. I mean, didn't I cover a story where some Florida school teacher was teaching how slavery wasn't such a bad thing after all, and I think I covered a story where they had a slave auction so if any state's probably suppressing some African-American history, yeah, maybe Florida schools. Angie, the book owner, says she hopes customers who stop by the Cafe Resistance will feel empowered. She says, quote, "I just want them to take in that black is beautiful, brown is beautiful, and the fact that this is our space. It's not just my space. This is our community's space, and that they should feel welcome. They should feel at home. They should feel safe. They should have fun, get educated, and learn to engage with other people as well." But it sounds to me like this is more of a political statement and a community that's being created here to raise awareness of some of the things that are happening in our government. Some stuff that's it leans towards fascism, does it not? But the Constitution, I don't know if you guys have looked at this thing, but it's pretty fascinating regarding the freedom of speech. Our founding fathers said no laws limiting freedom of speech, and I'm pretty sure our founding fathers are educated people. When they wrote no laws, they meant probably no laws. If they had some laws in mind, they would have wrote some laws. But no, they wrote no laws. Someone might want to remind some of our lawmakers.
Let's rock.
A Florida man resists arrest while being arrested for resisting arrest. I guess you could kind of call this like the Florida man's cycle of life, right? We have here a Florida man already wanted on a resisting arrest warrant. He was taken into custody, but while they were doing so, he tried escaping from the officers who were there to detain him. So he was resisting arrest while being arrested for a warrant for resisting arrest. Well, if anything, this Florida man is very consistent and very committed. You have to admire that. It's difficult to find a Florida man who's committed to anything except for shoving their genitalia in a Pringles can while high on crack in a Walmart parking lot, talking to the ladies. Now, let's cut to the probable cause affidavit, as we tend to do in Florida Man stories. The Indian River County Sheriff's Office wanted to catch Gordon Wanser, is the Florida man. Gordon. Deputies arranged with his probation officer a trick to find him, also known as a ruse. The probation officer contacted Gordon, the Florida man, on Wednesday, told him that she would like to set up a meeting with him. Wanser claimed he was not at home, but the Florida man suggested that they meet at Lowe's home improvement store because he was probably about to shoplift. After the Florida man arrived at the Lowe's, a detective got out of an unmarked vehicle wearing a sheriff's office shirt, and the Florida man spotted the detective and took off running with two other detectives in pursuit, yelling at him to stop. A taser eventually brought Florida man Wagner down. A taser had to become involved, as it often does with the Florida man. Sometimes it's bear mace. But he kept resisting as officers tried to cuff him, the detective reported. After the Florida man was subdued, one of the detectives brought him some water. How sweet. How sweet. Got some water for you, buddy. Because you just resist a lot. You know, you must be very thirsty from all the resisting. Here's some water. Oh, looky here. After taking a few sips, the Florida man spotted a gap between the 5 deputies surrounding him and once again tried running away. This guy cannot stop resisting. You know what's going on. It's how you know what's up. You know what's up. You know what I'm about, guys. You know what's going to happen. I'm going to resist. That's just what I do. It's all in my file. This guy should just have resist tattooed across his face. It says here, before long, though, the Florida man was once again detained, tased, and put into a patrol vehicle. So they got him, guys. You got to really keep an eye on this guy, though, like 24/7. In addition to the original warrant, Florida man now faces multiple counts of resisting arrest and attempting escape. Cut to the conversation between the Florida man and his new cellmate. Hey, man, I noticed that on your way in here you seem to be resisting a bit. I resist a little bit myself. Oh, no, man, you ain't even know the real deal I am when it comes to resisting. Today, in fact, I was resisting the arrest that they were trying to arrest me on for resisting. Previously a resistant. I've been resisting my whole life, man. I resist that. I resist anything. I resisted. When I come out the womb, the doctors couldn't even grab me. I was resisting from minute one. Governor Ron DeSantis says that the Florida police cannot agree on how much weed that a joint holds. I can tell you how much weed a joint holds, man. It depends on how cool you are, bro. Yeah, but the short answer is never enough. You're probably wondering, why is Ronnie D asking about this? How much cannabis can fit into a joint? How many joints could be permitted if someone possesses 3 ounces of pot at a time? Because that's the amount that will be permitted if voters approve the constitutional amendment in November for Florida. They're going to approve 3 ounces of pot at a time. I'm going to tell you right now, that's a lot of joints. It's a lot of joints. Some law enforcement have told Ronnie 3 ounces of cannabis is about 40 to 80 joints. I'll just tell you it's much closer to 80. 40, those are some big joints right there, 40. But I love your ambition. I approve that. I'm just happy you're considering this in Florida, Ronnie D and your crew. Ronnie D has floated this concept before. It seems law enforcement has an internal dispute as to whether a joint should hold 1 gram of cannabis, which is roughly what 80 joints from 3 ounces would suggest. If 3 ounces were made into 40 joints, that would create joints that are roughly 2 grams each. Of course, this all depends on whether or not we're going by the metric joint or the imperial joint. Is it a South African or a European swallow? How much weed can be in a joint? Can I be in the room when they bring this up? This sounds like a Cheech and Chong sketch, isn't it? How much weed, man? Well, when I roll one, boy, you better watch out. I'm curious. Are they hiring to figure this out? Is this some kind of... Are they going to form a joint committee in Florida? Get it, guys? Maybe a joint task force? Come on, the puns are amazing here. Item 1 that the joint committee will review. How much weed is in a single joint? Anyone? Angus. Oh, yes, me. I know. How much weed is in a joint? I think it holds 2 weeds. About 2 weeds. Maybe 2.5 weeds. Let me just take a pause and point out the contradictions in the state of Florida. I'm not saying that I'm smarter than anybody else. Just as a comedian, this is one of the things I enjoy. Pointing out the contradictions that make no sense. The ludicrousness of people in government can't figure out how much marijuana is in a single joint. Just completely unfamiliar with this, although they've been voting on anything related to it for many, many years. However, when it comes to banning books, they can apparently spot them a mile away without even having to read them. Now, back into the story, and here is where it becomes a circus again. Ronnie D has issued warnings about potential pot legalization in the past, because at the base of it, he really doesn't want it. He's just trying to brace himself for it. In order to do so, he's trying to figure out, well, all right, it's going to happen. It's coming. So, guys, can you tell me how much pot is in the pot? Now, it says the number of joints he's referenced has increased over time. This is what Ronnie Diaz said in June. Quote, if you legalize marijuana, I think you're going to see people who will be able to bring 20 joints to an elementary school. Is that really going to be good for the state of Florida? I don't think so. 20 joints to an elementary school. Who's bringing 20 joints to an elementary school, Ronnie D? Are you out of your mind? We got to be careful about them bringing 20 joints to the school. They might even bring 35 bong rips to the school. I heard they bring these bong rips around, trying to say, you want some bong rips? 2 for 1. I think that's what's going on. How much smoke is in a bong rip? Did you guys? We need to measure that. Let's get the scientists in here. Can we set up that joint committee I was speaking of? Here's the actual quote from this buffoon about legalizing 3 ounces. It gives you a limitless constitutional right to possess and smoke. I think it's up to 40 joints. Is that the 3 ounces would be 40? More than that. 80 joints? Something like that. I don't know. So that's like the exact quote. 40 bombers for sure, Ronnie D. I like how you party, bro. Ronnie D is obviously a coke guy, though. He's totally a coke guy. He behaves like a coke guy. He has the paranoia of a coke guy. He's straight through a coke guy. And he's unfamiliar with the devil's lettuce, and he's doing the best he can. Next, there'll probably be a debate held over the difference between a fatty, a joint, or a pinner. Size is obviously important when it comes to such things. Whatever you do, don't tell Ronnie D about the blunt. That's just going to blow his mind. He's not even going to understand what the hell that is. Now, I think it needs to be stated, as I have yet to do so, that, the ridiculous of this question, because it's too nuanced. How much marijuana is in a single joint is always dependent on who rolls it and what their personal preference is. That's like asking how many sips are in a beer can. Well, do you take small sips or do you like to chug a bit? I'm all out of news. I'm so lost without news. I don't got no news. Hey, it's the weekend, right? Is it the weekend? I think it is the weekend. Well, this is the Friday episode. I don't know when you're listening to it. Maybe you already had a cool weekend, or maybe you're in the midst of it. Well, party on, bro. I want you to have imbibe in some joints that contain a minimum of 2 weeds. Those are the good ones. 2 weeds. You want at least 2 weeds in your joints, guys. Oh, isn't ignorance funny? Oh, so sorry. I just banged my head on the microphone. I'm putting my cup of cold brew down, and I'm out now. I'm all done. Homemade cold brew, guys. That's where I was at today. I need it in the closet. That ice melted in no time, though, in this hot-ass closet. It's hot. Hey, I want to give some love, some shout-outs. Happy birthday is in order for Emmanuel from Norfolk, Virginia. She's a big-time fan of the show. along with her guy Dexter, who reached out to me and asked if I could wish her a happy birthday on the show. So that's what I'm doing. We want to wish a happy birthday to Emmanuel from Virginia. Emmanuel, big fan of the show. She even composed a song for the show, a Florida song at one point. It's somewhere in my hard drive. I'll try and whip that out and play that maybe after this, see if I can find it. But shout out to her. Happy birthday. Hope you have a great weekend. Also, I got this great... Oh, this is really cool. Okay, let's go back here. I need to get into my inbox here. Social. Because I need to give a shout out to a guy on YouTube who listens to the show. User named Doom Cheese. Doom Cheese. I think his actual name, though, on the YouTube. Let me click on here and go here. Ricotta James. Ricotta James. I don't know if that's his real name, but Ricotta James is a homeless guy in San Antonio, Texas. Big fan of Weird AF News. He says he's the head chief at the Tent in the Woods Bar and Grill. And that's not all. He says to me, there's this message the other day. He says, I truly hope you have a successful career on YouTube, Jonesy. I hit the like button on all your videos, and every day me and a few other homeless people gather around and I show this to them. So he's playing the YouTube version of the Weird AF News to his the folks that he lives with, it sounds like. So want to give a shout out to Ricotta James, also known as Doom Cheese, and all of the people in San Antonio that are listening in. So just want to let you know that we appreciate you over here at Weird AF News. I say we, but it's just me. It's a one-man show, pretty much, as you know. Anyways, if you're listening, whatever platform you're listening to this on, please subscribe to Weird AF News. If you want to send me a message, my email's funnyjones@gmail.com. And my Instagram's @funnyjones. I got shows tonight in Long Beach, Friday in Long Beach, tomorrow night in North Hollywood. Please send me a message on the email, and I can get you on a guest list or two. If you choose to support the podcast because you are very generous and you want to be a patron of the arts, please go to weirdafnews.com, the official website of weirdafnews.com of Weird AF News. And you can join the Patreon or buy me a coffee. That's a thing that you can do. And I hope you have a great weekend. And good luck with your life, man.